They came from just an idea that it was a joke, really. We thought it would be funny to have us being Brummies and going to see castles and then killing people, and that simple idea became the film in the end. Yeah. But would you agree with that, Alice? No.
I agree. We did them as sort of live characters on stage, first of all.
So how did it turn into a film? And Ben, what point did you kind of get on board?
I came on after about 25 years of development, and I had a meeting at Big Talk and with Naira Park, and she went, "Do you want to do this script?" And I went, "Oh, it's them two. I like them. I've worked with them before." So I said yes, and it was like that really. And I'd seen they did a little short film version of it, and I'd seen that as well, so I knew what I was getting into. So yeah. And
of course, you'd written the last two films that you directed, Down Terrace and Kill List. So how was...
Kind of co-written, to be honest.
Okay, co-written. But how was it a different experience, kind of working on a script that wasn't yours?
Yeah, it was fine. I mean, I've directed a lot of TV as well, where I don't have anything to do with the script, so that side of it wasn't like daunting. But yeah, and then we improvised a lot around it as well, so it was kind of it wasn't. I had a certain amount of authorship across it, which kept me happy.
And Steve and Alice, I mean, did you have any kind of points of reference for Tina and Chris? I mean, either fictional or people in your own lives?
Ourselves. Almost, in my case, entirely. There's nothing on there that is made up, it's all real. Yeah, I mean, we don't want to name names, but yeah.
Because they're here. Me and Steve started talking about family holidays that we'd been on in the 80s. Not together, we didn't know each other then. But sort of similar conversations about arguments that you have on family holidays and how it all turns out all right in the end, even though you have all these arguments and it rains and stuff. So it sort of came from that, really.
I think ultimately you can't help but kind of fall in love with Tina and Chris. It's actually quite a sweet film. Was that kind of your intention all the time?
It was a sweet film.
It is a sweet film. I think there's something kind of sweet about their relationship.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, we wanted them to be quite real and kind of believable and like normal people, really, but they have a secret. And it's funny watching this tonight, how people applauded when there was... the Rambler was killed. You sick bastards. You go, this guy who just asked us to pick up a shit, and then he gets killed for it, and that's not... And it's amazing how far you go with... He is posh, yes. Class warrior, Ben, there. Really. So, yeah, it's amazing how far you go when you kind of, connect with a character. And you do utterly insane things like that, and the audience goes with it. It's just because we're all complete, sick, horrible people. Anyway.
I'll take that, shall I? Well, I don't think it is. I think I think it was very important not to have that attitude. I hope that didn't come across. I don't think it was in the thing. She's going for it.
To some people, Birmingham people are northerners, if you live south of them. So I think, we were championing the Midlands. Everyone else.
Oh, sorry. So it's a Midlands versus Northern thing. So it wasn't necessarily a Southern versus Northern. I didn't see the subtlety of that. I'm sorry. I didn't realise there was a problem between those parts of the country.
Yeah, it's very tribal.
Sorry. I'm not London. I'm Brighton. F*** London. Sorry, everyone. Yeah. I think they're equal opportunity murderers. To be fair. And it's working class and middle class and upper class they kind of have a go at, so... There's no rules,
Any
Sorry
other
if you felt that way, though, that's depressing.
Well, Steve and I are both character comedians, which means we're not funny enough to be stand-ups, and it's also where we're really poor. And we did like lots of weird character comedy, and we sort of said, should we do something together? We're both from the Midlands. Let's see what we can cook up. And so we did the characters as a sort of double act, coming out dressed in sort of camping gear, and we only did it a couple of times live, but actually we had a lot of people coming up to us and saying, I think the idea's got legs, and you should do something with it. So we did.
Sorry, how was it taking those characters and suddenly doing them in a filmic way?
Well, it took 5 years. So we had to kind of really slowly find out who they really were, because obviously when you do it on stage, you've got 30 seconds to make an impression, and not even that much, 2 seconds. So they were much broader. And then the more research we did on the characters, the subtler they became, and the more they had a real life to them and a real dynamic, and they became realer people. Film 4 paid for us to go camping together in a caravan, which is true, and we found out how much we annoy each other in real life. So actually, yeah, it was a lot. I think it was really important. We had to do that, really.
I did all the
out.
work as well, you know,
true.
putting the tent up and lifting things, and she sat in the car.
I did
It
a
was
lot
exactly
of
like
bossing around.
Yeah, like you're not doing it right and all that. So yeah, it was really annoying. And being in that in that confined space where you can't escape someone is really, it's awful, and you can't even open a window. Really, you get about that much.
But
No, I couldn't. Are you a caravaner yourself? No.
do you want to come camping with us? Is that what you're asking?
That's the winner of the competition tonight. The lady in the front row.
The caravan is waiting outside.
And
I
the
could
gaffer
understand
tape.
the anti-ginger
Sorry?
thing. No, but I could feel your anti-ginger pain, you know.
The anti-ginger pain, yeah, that's right. Thank you for, yeah. Sister.
Yeah, it was nerve-wracking showing it abroad, just because I think just because it's comedy, and then comedy in subtitles is a bit of a dangerous game. But it seemed to play fine, didn't it? So yeah, I mean, the only weird thing is that they often laugh earlier because they read it quicker. But I think the characters are universal enough to play abroad, so it's gone down all right. So yeah, that wasn't as worrisome as it was to begin with, was it?
We always get asked this. I mean, I think I probably watched it about 20 years ago. I think, you know, we started off with the characters, actually, before we even thought of Nuts in May, but
Well,
obviously
there's not many camping films. I mean, can you name Carry On Camping, Nuts in May, and, you know, Sightseers? There's not, you know. So when you're researching films to watch, you kind of go to the camping films.
I think we sort of avoided watching it for a
Yeah,
bit,
we did,
didn't
yeah,
we, when
yeah.
we started writing it, and then...
But massive fans of Mike Lee and you know that style of working. I've got a beard like Keith.
I don't think anyone who's in character comedy, I don't think you can help but be influenced by Mike Lee, because, you know, it's just part of British comedy history, so... I think we watched things like Falling Down and stuff when we were, you know, massively early on, kind of like this idea of, because they're anti-heroes in the sense they're not glamorous at all, and that was what was interesting about writing it, is they're not cool.
Yeah,
so
and you know, it's a misguided. He's a misguided. The character of Chris he's a misguided vigilante. If you want to see him like that, he hasn't got a clue what he's doing. He's just doing it because he wants to do it, really. And you know, people die, but there's not really you know, as we were saying earlier, there's not really a revenge. There's no focus to it. He's just a killer, and then she becomes one, and she's just a killer, and then he dies.
Thanks for summarising the plot for anyone who didn't get it.
That'll be the. There'll be a little photo of Stephen on the Radio Times, and that'll be underneath it. Sightseers. And then he dies.
Well, we did. We had a short film that we were able to show people, which kind of made it quite obvious what it was about, really. So that was our calling card, was the short film, really. And that got us some meetings without us really having to pitch it specifically.
There's no elevator pitch for this film, is there?
Not really, no.
Of course.
They were all real except for us. Everyone in the film.
It's actually a documentary, the film. No, he was a great guy, and he had, I mean, that scene could have gone on for 40, 50 minutes full of information about trams, which was fascinating, but we were forced to cut that out. But we definitely would have, you know. Yeah, I was interested.
He was brilliant. He was amazing.
It was good. And Cryche is also a great visit if you're up there. It is brilliant, that place. Yeah. Cryche.
Wow, someone with a really loud voice advertising.
Originally, it was just a camping film, wasn't it? I just, you know. But, all the murders are in there, and then I lingered on them.